Alright, in this video, what I want to do is I want to cover the actual H-bridge circuit and building the little circuit that the kids can simulate, the students can simulate. And one of the things I think I've mentioned before in some of the other videos is that our circuits 1, 2, 3D, I'm sorry, our multi-sim doesn't have the capability of doing the simulation of what's called the H-bridge chip. So one thing that I do use is I use the circuits 1, 2, 3D, and what I usually do is I Google this, and what I do is I find this one right here, 1, 2, 3D circuits, Autodesk. And if the students have an Autodesk sign-on, and they may have used it in IED where they got the free Autodesk software download, then what they can do is they can use that same sign-on and access this. And I use this quite a bit in my class. Matter of fact, I think we're going to do a little Arduino thing later on. So maybe you might want to get your students signed up for this. And the way you start this out, we click on New, Electronics Lab. And we come up with a circuit. It comes up with a breadboard like this. Maybe what I'll do is I might go to a smaller breadboard, and all you need to do is click on this one and hit delete. Alright, okay. Now I'm going to hit components. Down here this screen shows up. Now you can expand this area a little bit. And I'm going to go down here. They do have a smaller, I'm going to grab this breadboard here. Put this one on the circuit. I'm going to need 2 power supplies. And the reason for 2 power supplies is we need one for 5 volts and we need one for 6 volts with the motor that we're going to use here. And what you can do is you can highlight these, and for example right over here this box comes up and says it's a power supply, it's set for 5 volts. What's nice is when you start simulation it's going to start at 5 volts. This power supply down here, we're going to use this for our motors. So what I want it to do is I want it to fire up at 6 volts. So we got that. We're going to go grab our IC chip now that we're going to use, our H-bridge IC chip. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the, I think it's the 293, LM293 H-bridge right here, L293D. And we're going to bring that up, and what you do is you put that on your board here. I'm going to put it right about here. Once again, what's nice about using this is the students actually get it's like working with a breadboard. You know, they don't want to snap it here, obviously, because you short the pins out, so we put it right across there. We got our connections. Another thing I need is I need a motor. And now, Multisim has motors too, but they just don't have an H-bridge. I just looked the other day for an H-bridge, and they don't have an H-bridge. I like this motor right here, so I'm going to grab this motor and I'm going to plug this motor in right there, and I'm going to grab a couple of switches, single pole, double throw switches, and this is the one I'm going to use, and this one. And what I'm going to do is, if you highlight the switch, you can flip the switches around. So I'm just going to kind of turn this switch around like that on the board. and it's wired in right here. Let's see, I think I got everything on here. So now I'm going to open up this PowerPoint, and this is the PowerPoint for the CopyJam, and we're going to scroll down to, we'll go to this section right here. There's a couple of H bridges you can use. Here's the chip that we're going to use right here, the layout for it. If you have this one, I feel sorry for you. These pins are just a little bit larger than the breadboard, so be careful. I wouldn't plug those into the breadboard. It's, you know, it's up to you how you want to do it, but this IC chip is kind of hard to work with. I like this one right here. Texas Instruments has one, so let me scroll past here a little bit. There it is right there. Up here at the top, they got the Texas Instruments number, SN754410. Also, like what you see, I'm using an L293, and I think this one's the L298. So we're going to wire this one up here. We have the external power supply here. That's the 6-volt power supply they use for the motor. We have 5 volts. That's coming from our MyDAC if you're using this with your DMS board. And here's the wiring that we basically want to do. Let's see, pins 4 and 5 I'm going to put to ground. I'm going to leave 2 alone right now. 2, we're going to, in this CopyJam circuit, we only turn the motor on and off. But in a later activity, a toll booth, we actually reverse the motor. And I'm actually going to wire up the reversing of the motor here, and that's what we're going to use pin 2 for, even though they show it grounded here for the CopyJam. Pins 1 and 16 are going to be tied to 5 volts, and pin 8 is going to be tied to our external 6-volt power supply. That's for the motor, for controlling the motor. So let's go back here to our circuit. And we're going to do some wiring up here. First of all, I'm going to bring in 5 volts, and I'm going to tie the minus. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll tie these power supplies together. Take that minus side right there, and I'm going to wire it down to here. Take this minus side right there. Remember, whenever you're working with power supplies, different power supplies, you always want to have a common ground. So you need your common ground connection on there. Also, you need, as you're wiring this up, talking about common ground, you need to wire to the ground pin. It's on the CMOD also. And let's see, what I mentioned was, I think it was 4 and 5. Oh yeah, see right here, this is kind of nice. You put your mouse pointer up here, and they actually tell you where the grounds are. So we're just going to run these 2 to ground, like that. Here's the 5 volts. I'm going to run my 5 volts up to there, connect my 5-volt power supply. Every time you want to do a bend on one of these with circuits 1, 2, 3D, you just do the left click on it. Let's hook up this power supply. We're going to hook it down here to this rail, and it goes to this last pin here. Let's see, I got my 5 volts tied there. The other places I got to tie 5 volts. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Wire my 5 volts over to here. Got that enabled. I'm going to wire my switches. I'm going to put them to ground on one side, and I'm going to put 5 volts on the other side. And I'm going to wire my switches. Actually, I got 2 positions here, input 1 and input 2. like I said, in our if we went back to that PowerPoint, you would see input 2 grounded, but we're actually going to wire it to a switch. And we got to get input 7 here. Wired to a switch. These those 2 pins, 2 and 7, will come from our CMOD, and they do the controlling of the motor. So there'll be that 5-volt signal from the CMOD. So let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I got to hook up the motor. So output 1 and output 2, so these where the motors are connected up. It doesn't really matter whether you use the terminal 1 or terminal 2 on these motors. This is actually where you'll be plugging those VEX motors in. You'll be plugging them into the breadboard. They, I think they actually, they have 3 pins. No, I think they have 2. Anyway, you're going to wire these 2 right up to the board. So let's wire this one right in here. And we're going to wire this one right up to there. I guess I'll go right there. Alright, I think I got it all. Let me just double check. Open up the PowerPoint again. So I got the power supply here. I got my power supply grounds tied together. 12 and 13 really don't need to ground these. There's a second H-bridge circuit on the right hand side, so we can get away with just these 2 grounded on this side. I got my input from my PIO output pin and my CMOD. Like I said, I'm also controlling this one up here to get it going the opposite. I got my 5 volts wired in and my enable, and looks like we're ready to go with this. So we're going to turn on our simulation, and as you see, we have 0 RPMs here. So I'm going to take this signal right here, which for our copy jam, this would start our motor going. So no motor going. We must not have power someplace here. Got my 6 volts going. Right here, here's my, I got a wiring error. I got this the power for the, I got to stop my simulation, correct this connection down here. It actually needs to go to the 6-volt power supply. One of the reasons you kind of run a separate power supply for your motors kind of generate noise. You don't want that noise to come back into your 5-volt system. So start our simulation up, and I'm going to turn this guy off. So both switches are off. You can see the motor's on 0 RPM. So now I'm going to get the motor running. There it's going. That motor's actually running counterclockwise. So this would be, this switch is just like coming out of our CMOD. It'll be that 5-volt signal out of the CMOD that goes between low and high. So it turns the motor on and off in the copy jam circuit. Now I'm going to turn the motor off. I'll go down here to this switch for toll booth. We're going to reverse the motor. So this is the second output from the CMOD for the toll booth circuit, and you can see now it's changed signs. It's going clockwise. The motor's running. But this is pretty good. The students get to see how to wire this up. Probably a good exercise to go through, because here once again you're wiring in a second power supply, and there's always chance of making an error. I mean, you saw me make a wiring error down here. I grounded this one, but the worst part is tying this 6-volt power supply into one of your CMOD pins. And I do have the other videos that actually talk about wiring up this circuit. I would prefer, you know, this, you get this IC chips right here. They fit nice into the board. That L298 is kind of an ugly IC chip to order, so you want the 293 or that Texas Instrument number that's on the PowerPoint. So, and once again, this is nice. The reason I did this is Multisim didn't have the simulation for the H-bridge circuit in it, and here the students actually get to play around with this one. And if you want to with Copy Jam, you could use the full board on here, and you could actually put the AND gates on here for the Copy Jam circuit and put some more switches in. You can actually use these switches to simulate the VEX switches. And the students could build up the whole Copy Jam circuit and do the simulation on here with the H-bridge and a motor. So, alright, that's all I wanted to cover on this today. Thank you.